Hey, you guys, and welcome to our Tuesday night broadcast. I'm super excited to have you here tonight. We are going to continue our discussion on intermittent fasting and the keto-like lifestyle. And tonight we're going to talk a little bit more specifically on how to use IF and the keto-like lifestyle to help improve your athletic or exercise or fitness performance. And I say all three of those categories because I know for some of us, being an athlete doesn't seem like something that we are. Maybe because we're not wearing, a sponsored shirt by a big company, so we're technically not an athlete, or we're not like, competing in a big auditorium or stadium or field somewhere. And then I also say fitness because for some of us it is just a fitness thing. I know for our family, especially for me, while I was kind of healing my body, all I really wanted to do was stay functionally fit. And then, for others, it's sort of just kind of a workout thing. So, whatever category you fall into, all of this is going to apply. So, stay tuned. We have a great discussion ahead of us. I always like to take a second in the beginning to just introduce myself and welcome everyone. So, welcome. If you're joining us for the first time, please take a second to hit that subscribe button on YouTube and that like button on Facebook so you'll be notified when we go live or we upload information in either one of those communities. And then take a second when you jump on to just leave me a comment. Let me know if it's your first time here or if you've been a student in one of our courses, or maybe you're planning on jumping into our course that's starting in January. I would love to hear from you. At the end of the discussion, I always take a few minutes or sometimes several minutes to have a discussion with you guys live right here. And then if you're joining us in the rebroadcast, always feel free to leave a comment as well. I do go back and review all comments. Okay. Let's talk about exercise and nutrition and what we're doing here in this community with intermittent fasting and the keto-like lifestyle. So if you're new, the keto-like lifestyle, or how I like to teach a keto-like lifestyle, is just living a higher fat, moderate to low protein, conscious carbohydrate lifestyle while paying attention to the signs and signals that your body is sending you so that you can identify foods that might be causing you a problem. And then you make the conscious decision to eliminate those foods, limit those foods, or engage in those foods regardless of how they make you feel. That's all a very personal choice. We don't believe in good foods or bad foods here. Every food is a personal decision that you make depending on what your personal goals are. So, how is it that intermittent fasting and a keto-like lifestyle can enhance exercise performance? We talk a lot here about the inability to lose weight as our hormones start to change and as we get into a state of imbalance. I know that's what I went through, and I know a lot of women who reach out, who have taken our courses, were also in that state. You've dieted down, you've exercised excessively or chronically, and you're not able to budge any of those numbers on the scale, and you're at a complete loss because the things that you're doing now worked for you before, and now they're suddenly not working. That is what we call being out of balance with your hormones. And when you get your hormones back in balance, we actually call that hormone optimization. And when your hormones are optimized, that's when your body has the ability to burn fat or ketones as your primary source of energy and is no longer dependent on sugar as your energy source. So your hormones have balanced out. They're firing out at their optimum rate, and you've now regained your ability to lose weight because your body is going to tap into those fat stores that we have to actually fuel your body. So you've just retrained your hormones to work for you as opposed to against you. So when we're insulin producing, and what happens oftentimes as we start to age and our hormones go crazy on us, and this is exactly what happened to me, is I became pre-diabetic and I became insulin resistant. So my body was overproducing insulin. I had so much stored up that I never really ran out, and I was not able to burn the fat. So I was not optimizing my hormones. When I became fat adaptive and I switched things back around and I really trained those hormones to work for me, then I was in that ability to lose weight again. And I've talked about it here. It literally happened overnight for me. Had really visible, cellulite body fat everywhere. And I felt like one day I woke up and it was all gone. Like the light switch just went on and my body started churning away at that extra fat that was stored in my body because I was overproducing and wasn't able to ever tap into my fat stores. So when you're relying on insulin, or you're an insulin eating pattern kind of person, so you're high carb, moderate protein, low fat, which most of us have been taught and trained to do because that's the generation that we grew up in, you are literally turning off your body's ability to tap into those fat stores to burn as an energy source. So your body has no other alternative but to rely on and use inject calories that you've taken in for energy, which is why we do this when we're sugar burners. We eat, we feel good. Our sugar starts to deplete and we go down. So then we eat again to feel good, and then we go down and we eat again. And that is also a lot of the patterns that a lot of us have been in, which is called the hypothyroidism, where we've talked about before, when I could never leave my home without having a bag of snacks, or my family would drive to the closest convenience store and demand that I go inside and get myself a power bar, which was full of sugar, and refuel my body so that I wasn't hangry anymore and I wasn't in that like sugar low kind of feeling. And it works. I mean, it works like a charm. It's literally like a drug addictive kind of feeling. You get high and energized from the immediate intake of the food, and then you drop and you get low when it starts to deplete away. So then you feed it again and you get that high, and then it depletes down and it gets low. And we really have trained our bodies and our minds to adapt and rely on that system. And that's where a lot of people in the exercise and nutrition world say that you have to eat before a workout. And it's true. When you're a sugar burner and your body is relying on the insulin being ingested through the eating the food, and then your body has what it needs to run off energy, which is the sugar, then you literally have to fuel your workouts with food because your body doesn't know any other system to work off of. So it's a really easy lifestyle to fall into and a really easy thing to believe is working because it really is working. Your body is trained to do that, and it trains your mind to do that, and then we just follow suit because it feels good. It doesn't feel good when we're low on sugar and we don't have energy to run off of. So what happens then when we're no longer a sugar burner and we can train our bodies to be fat and keto adaptive? And we talk about fat adaptation here a lot, and we talk about how we here in this community are merging intermittent fasting with a keto-like lifestyle, and how those two things have been working for us beautifully. And the reason they work for us beautifully is because while you're in that fasted state, and that's just time shifting your first meal to a later part of the day, you really do have an opportunity to get into that ketone or keto adaptive environment with your body where you have that energy readily available. We call that the energized sense of calm. And we call it the energized sense of calm because not only is our body energized, but our brain is energized as well through the oxidative state that how the oxygen that's available in our brain, which clears out all that fog. And so our brain is firing exactly the way it's supposed to be firing. So our brain is equally as energized as our body. So what we need to do is just train our bodies to tap into stored calories instead of readily available calories, which are known as fat. So stored calories are fat. I talk about that as your food pantry or your storage pantry of calories. So, we, when we were big almond milk drinkers, we would have, readily available almond milk in the refrigerator. And I was always put like a box that didn't have to be refrigerated of almond milk in the pantry as an emergency. So if I didn't have time to get to the store or something, then we could pull out the box from the pantry and we could have almond milk. Your body is the same kind of system. So when there's no energy readily available, it goes into your food pantry, which is calories that it has just stored away for use at a later time, and it starts to utilize that as energy. We know that as fat. And that's why the intermittent fasting and keto fat adaptive environment is such a great place to shed off fat, which we talked about yesterday. So let's talk a little bit about how we can use that in an exercise or athletic type of environment. And yes, anyone can be an athlete. You do not have to be sponsored by a big company and play in a stadium with filled seats. An athlete is someone who just thinks and acts and feels a certain way when they're in an exercise state, or at least that's the way I define being an athlete. So I consider myself an athlete because when I'm working out, I work out so that I am not only getting through the motions of a workout, but I'm actually monitoring my heart rate. I'm monitoring my calorie output just to see how well I'm working in my workout and how my heart rate and what I'm doing energy wise is really telling a true story. I exercise at the level of actually changing the shape of my body, and I'm super aware of my mind to muscle connection, so that I'm working out, I know I'm actually tapping into those muscle fibers to create change, and that change comes in the way your body ends up shaping up when you're done working out. So I consider myself an athlete. So how is it that that this keto-like lifestyle can help us better perform as athletes or workout people? Well, ketones are a high octane fuel. So if you're going to put fuel in your body to work out, why would you not want to have the best, most high quality fuel available for your body to tap into to get through what you're about to put it through? Sugar and glucose and those glycogen stores are not the same level of energy or quality of energy as ketones are when they're readily available in your body. So they are the best fuel source that you can get quality wise. Not only will ketones keep your workout fueled, but they also tap into your brain and your actual muscles that you're working out as well, and help you work out more efficiently. We talked a little bit yesterday about some of the other benefits of ketones. So we talked about how ketone benefits are also acting as anti-inflammatory agents, and in some medical cases we talked about yesterday, they actually work more efficiently than prescription medications as far as anti-inflammatories go. So just having ketones present in your body, or being keto adaptive or fat adaptive, will reduce the overall inflammation in your body. A lot of us here have experienced that. I told you guys how the last couple of weeks my body made another shift where I went down a whole gene size, and I really didn't change anything except a couple dietary things. And it was just another release of inflammation that I had going on in my body. A couple other benefits of being fat and keto adaptive is it helps your body recover faster. So if you are a person who's working out and let's say you get sore easily, or you want to work out on consecutive days, you don't want to have any rest time in between, having a fat and keto adaptive body will actually help your body recover faster and more naturally. It also lessens overall stress and reduces the risk of muscle breakdown. So you're not like swimming upstream, so to speak, with your workouts. Everything that you're doing in a fat and keto adaptive state is going to enhance the effort that you're putting in during your workout. So what happens to your brain when you are fat and keto adaptive, and how does that correlate to improving your overall exercise or athletic performance? Well, when your brain gets more oxygen, it actually fires off more neurons, which allow more muscular activity. So your brain, remember, is controlling everything that's going on in your body. So when your brain is alert and your brain has oxygen and your brain is sending the signals for your body to do what you want it to do, of course, the activity that you're trying to put out is just going to be higher quality. So your brain will actually help your body get a more efficient workout. And it's all just because of the fact that your brain is firing off exactly the way it's supposed to. We all know what it feels like to have a groggy, foggy brain. We've all started in this community that same way, where we felt like, oh, our brain was foggy. We couldn't remember things. We felt like drifty all the time. We couldn't get through a sentence or a complete thought. And now that we're fat adaptive, and no, lo and behold, we're also keto adaptive for most of us, our brain has cleared up and we can think clearly. And our motor skills are actually improving because of that, because our brain fires off those signals to our muscles and helps them work the way they're supposed to work. So having a clear brain and a brain that's running off fat and ketones will actually help your workouts. So I'm going to read my notes here about a little theory, and I know it's a pretty big thing in, I think it's South Africa, and it's the central governor theory. And when I read about this theory, had one of those aha moments, because I've always believed, and I am a runner by desire and nature, I think, that I could always tell my body what to do. Like my brain was always stronger than my body. And I would pick points out on a run and just tell my body to get there. So I would say, if I can just get to the next light, or if I can just get to the next block, or if I can just get to the next stop sign, my body will follow. And I've always really had just sort of that innate sort of ability to have my brain control what my body did. Lo and behold, there's a theory about that. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more in detail in our course starting in January. But it's really your brain's ability to get your body through a life or death situation when your body feels like it can't. So if you've ever felt that feeling of hitting the wall or bonking out during an exercise, that is pretty much what that feeling or that theory backs up, as the central governor's theory. But what we don't know, because we've just understood carbs to be the thing that fuel our body during a workout, is that we relate that I've hit the wall, or I'm bonking out during a workout, or I just can't get that last rep in, as glycogen depletion. When what they're finding now through studies is that it's not glycogen depletion. It's just that your brain is tired. Like your brain doesn't have any more energy. And so your brain is sending signals to your body in the opposite effect of what we just talked about. So if your brain doesn't have the energy and the oxygen to send the signals to your muscles, then your brain is going to be that thing that tells your muscles it can't work anymore. It has nothing really to do with glycogen depletion. Because if our body's depleted its glycogen, then it would resort to burning fat as an energy source. So we can never truly ever run out of energy, but we can run out of the ability for our brain to send signals to our body to actually move. So what can you do to not run out of energy? Well, the best thing that you can do is just get your body into that fat and keto adaptive type of environment or lifestyle. And try to understand what sugar and glycogen is actually doing in your body. And if you can envision what's going on in your body, then you can really start to train your brain, to train your body to do exactly what you want to do when you're working out. So we talked about, your brain sending the signals to your muscle, and if your brain has oxygen readily available and it's firing off the way it's supposed to be firing off and it's not tiring out, then it can really control what it is that your body is doing. So the better delivery that you send to your brain, the better overall performance you'll have physically through whatever it is that you want to do. And if it's not even a workout, it's just your every day-to-day life. And we talk a lot about here about just functional fitness and just being able to get through your day. And again, I have to go back to that saying that we have here in this community, and that's that energized sense of calm. Like your brain is just working the way it's supposed to be working, but you have this abundance of energy. Well, that's because your brain's oxygenated. That's because your brain has everything that it needs to be fully nourished, and it's going to take your body along with it. So not only is it proving to be true in our everyday life, but now we can take this theory and we can take this energy and we can move it right into our workout performance. Let me see. I have a couple other things I want to reference really specifically in my notes here so that I make sure I lead you guys down the right path. Okay, so we talked about a foggy brain and how a lot of us come into this environment with a foggy brain, and that's exactly where I was, and I was super afraid of Alzheimer's disease and losing my memory and not being able to walk through a room and remember why I was there. And that does come from just the overabundance of insulin production in our body and the fact that we have all this glycogen kind of backed up. We're not burning it off. And so that's called glucose metabolism. And that is really when your body's just metabolizing glucose and you have your brain sort of fogged up because your brain wants to work off fat and it wants to work off ketones. That's where it's doing its best. And when you're not providing fat and ketones to your brain, then it just runs groggy and it runs foggy. It's like your car, on bad oil or bad gas. It's just not going to work as efficiently. Our brains work the same way. And we've all had the hangries, which is just the opposite of the energized sense of calm. And so try to relate those two together and think about what it is you're doing and what kind of lifestyle you're living when you have the hangries or you're hitting the wall or you're burning out during a workout. And then compare that to how you're feeling when you're fat adaptive and keto adaptive. And you'll get that sense of how it is your body can really actually fuel itself and outperform anything that you ever thought that it could do. So what I find fascinating, especially now as a certified exercise nutrition coach, and I learned a lot of this through my course and through a lot of studies that I've been doing recently with even some changes in the diet and exercise world as far as how you're fueling your body through workouts as well as supplementation through workouts is all just completely being reintroduced into everything that we're doing with exercise and nutrition. In the world of fat and keto adaptation, is really shaking things up as far as exercise, nutrition, and even fitness performance as far as professional athletes, elite athletes, performance athletes, and especially endurance athletes. And what we've kind of grown up to know about how we're supposed to fuel our body pre, during, and post-workout is really proving to not be the best way to get the best results. So when we get into that fat burning and keto burning and adaptive type of environment, you won't get those burnouts anymore. You won't hit those walls. You won't get those bonks in your workout. And there will be no more fear of glycogen depletion because that's just not the energy source that we're running off of anymore. So dietary modifications, supplementation, changing up in the exercise and nutrition world is really taking the place of chronic over-exercising, dieting down to change your physique, and becoming the new tool for training versus over-exercising and under-eating. And what you really want to do is just modify your diet so that you can tap into the energy sources that you can pull out that are readily available for you that you may have forgotten about that can really help you enhance what it is that you're trying to do. And this is true of anybody at whatever level of fitness you're starting at or you want to achieve to. So there was another study, it's called the FASTER study, which I found absolutely amazing because when you think about working out in a fasted state and you've never done it before, or maybe you're just not really good with intermittent fasting yet and you're afraid to be hungry. Well, we all know in the environment that we have here, and anyone who's taken my course or has hung out here long enough knows that hungry is actually where the magic happens. And that once you can become really comfortable in the state of hungry, you have total control over what you want your body to look like, feel like, and perform like. So what do we need to do to take advantage of that? We just have to be comfortable in the state of hungry and understand what your hunger hormones go through when you're in a fasted state. And then this is where the emotional and mental part of what we train to do in our course is be okay with that and figure out what it is that food has on you that has you held so tight to it, even though it's not doing you any good. And how is it that you can turn all of that around to make food be the thing that is actually a tool that you use to enhance every aspect of your life and not a tool that you use to drown out things that maybe you don't want to deal with. So we work on that in our course as well. So let's get back to the FASTER study. The FASTER study revealed that fat and keto adaptive athletes were able to metabolize much more fat than the previously believed human limit. So what does that mean for us? Well, as women, we want to be able to be as efficient as burning off the unsightly fatty spots on our body as humanly possible. And we all know through trial and error and through probably a little bit of frustration that there's no such thing as spot reducing fat. Like your body has to just be really efficient in tapping into its own fat stores and start whittling away. And it whittles away at it at its own choice. So you don't get to pick where your body's going to burn off fat first or even more efficiently. Your body's going to determine that. But when you get really good at burning off fat and it's constantly in a fat burning mode, you're going to eventually get to those spots that you find most frustrating, and then you'll be fine. So in this study, they proved that you can burn off fat more efficiently than ever thought humanly possible. And then when they compared, or the way they did this study is they did a study with a group of people that were high fat, moderate protein, low carb, and then low fat, moderate protein, high carb. And at the end of the study, what they concluded was that the people who were high fat burned off twice as much fat as the people who were high carb. Who does not want that situation? So that just goes to further back up that if you really want to have a chiseled body and be efficient at burning off stubborn hormonal body fat, especially for us women who become hormonally optimized, then you really have to follow that high fat, moderate protein, conscious carbohydrate lifestyle. And remember, we always say conscious carbohydrate because we want to make sure that we are not neglecting nutrient dense carbohydrates, but that we're keeping an eye and being very conscious and aware of carbohydrates that we might be eating that may not be doing us any justice. So some other key benefits of being fat and keto adaptive are in the performance and recovery side of things as well. So you have less risk of digestive stress when you're on a high fat, moderate protein, conscious carbohydrate diet. And at the end of this, I'm going to share a couple of experiences that I went through when I lived a high carb versus a high fat diet in exercise situations. But you've heard situations with runners, especially endurance type runners or marathon runners, half marathon runners, or even some of these elite performance kind of Ironman people who have stomach problems when they're out on long runs. And they're finding now that that is coming from a lot of those really high carbohydrate type of fuel sources that these endurance people are taking when they are like going through 2 or 3 hour workouts and you're sucking on goo packs and simple carbs, and that really does cause a lot of digestive distress. So there's jokes about it in the running community, and there's porta potties all over half marathon and marathon routes, because there are times when you just have to stop because your stomach is just not going with the flow, or it is going with the flow with what you have going on during any time during your race. So they're finding in these studies that going off of those high carbohydrate replenishment type of fuels and sticking to a high fat type of diet or a ketogenic type of a supplementation, that is really helping alleviate a lot of those digestive stresses. We've already talked about less inflammation. Chronic exercise is now showing that it is a huge source of inflammation in our bodies. And so who wants to be inflamed when you're trying to chisel your body down? And a lot of that, again, comes with just the water retention. And we talk about how when we start working out, a lot of times people gain weight right when they start working out, and because their muscles are holding on to water. Well, if you're eating or you're fat and keto adaptive and you're working out, you're less likely to retain that water because your body's not going to become inflamed because it's running off the proper energy source. And then the other benefit of being fat and keto adaptive during exercise is that you have less glycogen depletion, of course, because you're not running off of glycogen and you don't have an overabundance of it in your body. And so the glycogen depletion post-workout is just not a problem, and you don't have to worry about of high sugar post-workout recovery drinks. And I know I used to drink chocolate milk, or chocolate almond milk specifically, after a long run to sort of replenish my muscles when I got done with a run, because it was the perfect combination of protein and carbohydrates. Well, when you're fat and keto adaptive, you don't need to do those kind of things post-workout because your body is going to have everything that it needs to recover on its own. Okay, so we talked about when your brain's burning ketones, which is its preferred source of energy. It won't hog up any of the ingested glycogen that you actually do take in. So your glycogen that you do have or that you do want in your body will be reserved for your body and will not go up to your brain, because your brain's just not going to need it because it's already being fueled with the right fuel source. So that's also going to cause you to have a clearer brain. So, in the central governor's theory, one of the big things is the fact that you can actually push your body farther than you thought you could, because your brain believes that it can actually work harder because it's confident in the energy stores that you have. And again, that does come from just having that clearer mind, because your brain is being fueled by the proper fuel stores. Let's see what else we got here for you guys. Okay, so all of this information is something that I didn't even realize I had experienced 2 times in the exercise environment that I had been in my life. And I'll kind of go over those really quickly with you guys so you can kind of see if maybe it relates to some things that you have done in the past as well. So I am a runner. I have run countless 10Ks and 5Ks in my life. And I started running half marathons in my mid 40s. I ran my first half marathon at 44, and I ran my second one at 48. When I ran my first half marathon at 44, I trained by the book. So I followed a training regimen, where you upped your miles and trained at your race pace and did sprints and all that kind of stuff. And about midway through my training, I was burning out. I was having stress fractures in my feet. My knees were hurting. My lower back was hurting. I was constantly going to the chiropractor, and I was following a high carbohydrate type of diet because I need to fuel my body on long runs. And I was doing some other training, I think, at the time. So it wasn't just running. I had to do some other physical activities as well. And when I finished my half marathon at 44, I was depressed, so to speak. It was on my 44th birthday, because I was hoping that training for a half marathon would put me at a very lean half marathon looking physique on my 44th birthday. We had plans to go to Palm Springs and hang around in a pool. And what actually happened was the opposite of that. Not only was I burnt out on running, I was aching and paining all over my body, but I was also very fat. And when I say fat, I don't mean like big fat, but I was very fat bodied, meaning I was fat from head to toe, a layer of just fat that just landed on my body. And what I realized after I had run that half marathon and looking back at the nutrition that I was doing is that I don't have the ability to burn down sugar properly. And so that just held fat onto my body. And so I never got into the opportunity of burning fat the way I had hoped to burn it, because I was running a half marathon. And I ended up fat at the end because I couldn't burn the fat. It just stayed there and accumulated. 4 years later, 44 years old, little wiser, I ran a half marathon. And instead of running every day, I did HIIT style workouts 4 to 5 days a week. I had an active recovery day, and I ran one long run per week. And I followed a high fat, moderate protein, conscious carbohydrate diet. Ended my half marathon at 48, a lean runner's physique. No aches and pains during my training, wasn't burnt out at the end, and actually shaved 7 minutes off my half marathon time 4 years older. So this theory works. The fat adaptive, keto adaptive lifestyle does really help exercise performance, and I was able to long runs 1 day a week being fat adaptive, as opposed to having to train up to run a long run. And I was able to shave off time off my running time. The second time I experienced this type of benefit of being fat and keto adaptive during exercise was when I did a fitness program through a and I wanted to get what are called infomercial results, meaning I wanted results that were so life-changing and shocking that they would feature me in an infomercial. So what I did during the first 6 weeks of this program, I think it was a 12-week program, was I followed the nutrition by the book. What was heavy carbs so that we could build muscle and bulk up. It was a bodybuilding type of program. And I did. I bulked up. I think I swelled up would probably be the better term, because I, again, can't handle all those carbs in my body. I couldn't even wear sweatpants. I was just inflamed everywhere, bulky, swollen. So for the second half of that workout program, I threw out the nutrition book and I went back to what works for me, which is a high fat, moderate protein, conscious carbohydrate lifestyle. And sure enough, within 6 weeks, I was able to slim my body back down, get rid of the inflammation, drop all that body fat, and ended up getting infomercial type results because I was featured in an infomercial. So 2 instances, bodybuilding, it worked well, and running, it worked well. I was able to yield the results that I was looking for by changing my nutrition mentality and how I implemented nutrition into my life. I also have always been a fasted workout person. I just work out better when I don't have any food in my body. I love working out in the morning, and I love working out without anything in my system. So this stuff makes sense, and it does work. The problem with this type of mentality in trying to work out is it doesn't sell well. And so that's why the nutrition, supplementation, fitness industry has really adapted to this, because in a sense, it makes sense if you don't know any different, right? Like if you don't know that you can work out fasted and improve your performance, and you've never experienced it, and you're so glycogen dependent, and you're so, and for us women, we're hypoglycemic, it doesn't feel good to not have that energy readily available to us. So the thought that we have to actually retrain our body, and we have to retrain our brain and fuel our brain properly, it all starts up here, which is where we're going to go in 2018 as well, with how do we get our brain to work on our behalf, is train your body to use the right energy source, and then you'll see what kind of results you can get and what you can do to your overall physique. If you're in my 2018 fitness course, we're going to touch on this slightly. I'm probably going to talk more supplementation than I will nutrition. But for my 2018 January intermittent fasting for today's Asian women course students, we're going to go into this a little bit deeper. And if you're not either one of those people, or if you just want to shoot me an email, I can talk a little bit more specifically about what my husband and I are doing in 2018 and how we've completely changed what we're doing with our nutrition and our supplementation and our fitness based on what I know now as a certified exercise nutrition coach, and what we've been reading through literature that we've been reading and some studies that we've been reading, and what we've experienced ourselves and know to be true. So everything's going to be changing for us in 2018. So I talked about my years and how I name them. So this year has been my year to settle in. So I've settled in, and I've done some things to kind of push myself forward. With the exercise and nutrition coach certification was a big thing, furthering my research, healing my body. And now 2018, we are going to really concentrate on what we can do physically for our bodies. And I personally am going to hit the first 80 days of 2018 hard with how I'm going to physically change my physique and overall well-being and body strength, and toning up, because I don't have to worry about being unhealthy anymore. I'm totally healthy. I know how to eat to keep myself fat and keto adaptive. And we're going to change up, like I said, some supplementation to just further enhance what we're doing, and for me especially with my brain and my body. So if you want any information on that, always feel free to email me. I don't like to talk about it too loosely in this environment because I never know who my audience is, and I don't want to send anyone off a cliff as far as just throwing some information out there without having an ability to get more information from you guys too. So if you're ever interested in those things, just email me. Kara's really good about posting my email on both YouTube and Facebook. I can have a conversation with you about some things that we're doing, see if it's a good fit for you, and if it is, we can plug you in, and if not, I always point you in a direction that might be a better fit for you. So I'm always here to help you guys find what it is that you're looking for that's going to best suit what your wants, needs, and desires are for your overall health and well-being. So let me see what we have here as far as comments and questions. I'm going to go to YouTube first. And YouTube, I have a new adapter for my phone, so I'm going to say a little prayer that I don't drop you guys tonight. Jerry from Delaware, welcome. Jennifer, hello. Marina, I've been a student of yours since July. Love it. I love this keto info. Oh, cool. Marina, I'm so glad it's working for you. It fires me up. Like, I've always been a nutrition geek, and I've loved physical fitness. So the combination of the two for me is just like, it's my jam. So I'm super excited to be able to help you guys even further now with being an exercise nutrition coach. So I'm here for you guys. Okay, let's see. Renee from Minnesota, graduate of Holiday Mini Course. Good to have you here. Gloria, listen to you every day. Have kept my weight stable using intermittent fasting and keto-like lifestyle. Thanks for all your advice. Gloria, thank you so much. Christine from Australia, July, an alumni group. Jen, it used to be easy for me to limit my carbs in the beginning. Seems the last few weeks have been a real struggle to limit my carbs. Cannot seem to get back on track, consistent with exercise though. Okay, Jen, here's what I always say on those kind of things. It's a weird time of year for everyone. And so I say, do the best you can with the season that you're in. And something magically happens for everyone as soon as that calendar flips over to January. So just don't beat yourself up too much. Do the best you can, and then just jump right back in with us in January. See, have shortened my fasting window. I have gone back to 16/8 schedule instead of 24. That could be it too, Jen. Shortening up that window makes a big difference. It gives you more time to eat carbs, which is a problem. And it takes you out of that truly fast, or that energized sense of calm. And the energized sense of calm is where you have the most control. Pam from Fresno, always great to see you live when I'm able to. Always good to have you here, Pam. Lori, when I was growing up, we were taught to have complex carbs to fuel a workout on top performance. But now I'm learning that working out while fasted gives us more energy and strength. Exactly. Especially the strength part. It's crazy. M. Fraz. Hi, Marcia from British Columbia. I always look forward to watching you live. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with this. Oh, you're welcome. Renee, Jim Moreno, I have done the same temporarily to change things up a bit. My body has gotten used to this, so my benefits have plateaued. Yeah, just jump back into 8 to the 20s whenever you guys can. First Fruit Ministries. Good evening, girlfriend. From your experience, what is the average period before a person reached that place of energized calm? Okay, so there is no average at all, because we are not average people. We are also unique. Everyone comes in with their own food story. Everyone comes in with their own hormonal imbalance levels. Everyone comes in with, whatever's going on internally in their body. So if you're in a truly fasted state, meaning nothing's going in your body except water, black coffee, and toothpaste, whatever it is you got to do to start your day, and you're fasting clean for a good 20 hours, and when you break your fast and your feast, you're fasting on nutrient-dense foods that are high fat, moderate protein, conscious carbohydrates, I would say you want to do that for a good couple of weeks and then reevaluate. If something's still not working, then we might want to tweak up something that you're doing in your feasting window. Linda, good to see you here. Jen Moreno saying to Renee, I had hoped the change would help more with my mood and carb craving, but hasn't seemed to help. Unfortunately, going to continue a little while longer to see. Renee, I've been intermittent fasting since April. It wasn't until I learned from Diane about clean fast and writing it out that finally got me over the hurdle. April, good evening, ladies from Albuquerque, December alumni course. It's amazing. I can hike and work out while IF. Yeah, it's great. Pam, completely off hormones, thyroid meds, and ADD meds. Just had my physical, and my blood pressure is the lowest it's been in 10 years. I no longer have thyroid noodle either. Thyroid nodule. I think it is. Yeah, thyroid nodule. Either IF. Oh, okay. So let me go back again. No longer have thyroid nodule either. IF and keto. Awesome, Pam. Thanks for sharing that. So, Pam, you're off of hormones, thyroid meds, and ADD meds, and your blood pressure is the lowest it's been in 10 years. Like, that is a win-win-win. Congratulations. Let's see, Jen, don't put any pressure on yourself, girlfriend. I would seriously just write it out the best you can, and maybe even after Christmas, before New Year's, see if you can do like a good long, like 22 or 23 hour fast and kick yourself back into that energized sense of calm. Renee, Jen, as Diane says, follow the program and listen to your body. It really does work. Yes, Birdie, hello. I just ran my first half this year. Awesome. First Fruit Ministries. How did it go? I did Chicago Marathon. That would be so awesome. So if you're training and running double digits, 2 hours, are you consuming anything during your long runs? Yeah, there's some stuff you can consume. I would send me an email, let you know some things you can do. Sarah, I am 36, exercising, cardio, and weights, and started 16/8 fasting. Do you think I will lose my period? No, I don't think so. I don't think there's no reason why you should. Carla, I've been listening to you long enough and it's time to get going. Can't wait to start in January. Yes, Carla, it is long enough. Get in the class with us. It'll be awesome. Okay, so let me go back over here to Facebook and see what we got going on. So I'm going to go get some glasses. I always buy the Costco cheap reader glasses because I throw them in my purse and scratch them and drop them and forget where I put them. So I don't want to spend any big money. But my girl fan, what would you call it? My girl crush, I guess is what you would call it. Kelly Ripa was talking today about how she has the progressive reader regular glasses or whatever. So I told my husband I was going to go get them, and he got mad at me because he's been trying to tell me to get them forever, but I didn't listen to him. I listened to Kelly Ripa instead. So going to get some new glasses next week, so that'll be nice. Janet Craig, good evening from Nevada. Okay, Janet Craig, can you do me a favor, girlfriend, and post in the comments what you sent to me in an email today? This girl has completely blown her doctor's mind with the results that she has gotten since June. She is a graduate of our first beginner course. She's a graduate of our alumni course, and she's jumping into, I think, the January course with us. But her results have just been mind-blowing, and her doctor is just completely excited for her and blown away by what she's been able to do over the past couple of months with her intermittent fasting. So congratulations, Janet. I always love hearing your success stories. Sherry from New Mexico, good to have you here. Mary Lou, hello from Jersey Shore. Jennifer from Ohio. Pamela, your brain will quit 1,000 times before your body will. Yes, and now there's scientific proof to show that that is true. A lot of times in the exercise and nutrition world, it's you have to be a grinder to be successful, right? If you're not waking up at 3 a.m. and hitting the streets in the dark and pounding your protein shakes and doing all this crazy stuff, then you're just weak. You're just not putting in the work. And what we're finding now through scientific research is that you don't have to necessarily put in all that work. You just got to modify your dietary habits and make sure that you're supplementing correctly and make sure that you're fasting properly and feasting well. And you can cut your exercise time down to nothing almost. Just make sure that it's good workout time and it's efficient and effective workout time. And you can fat and keto adaptive. Hello, again, we're going back to that do nothing mentality of 2018. I don't plan to work out more than 30 to 45 minutes a day unless I just feel like it. I won't ever work out again feeling like I have to work out. I love the feeling of having the joy of working out again. And I do really think that that is from the fat and keto adaptiveness of my brain being okay with it and my body being willing to follow, which is great. It's a great place to be. Janet Craig, so over exercising and dieting down is not good. No, it's not. And it's momentary, right? So when I got the infomercial style results and I was featured on an infomercial, literally I dieted down. And some of the things people were doing to get in an infomercial were crazy what they were doing nutritionally. They were just unsafe so that they could deplete their body of fluids and then they would eat certain kind of foods so that their muscles would explode, and then they would take pictures really quick so that they look their best. And then literally, as soon as you have a glass of water, your body goes back to normal. Or you eat even if you eat a salad, or heaven forbid you had a sandwich or something, you'd blow up. And it wasn't so much that you blew up, but it was the fact that you were so depleted that wasn't realistic. And then you just become normal again, and then you feel like you blew up. And that's where a lot of women have a lot of problems with food and stuff. Like, I mean, how much asparagus and chicken can you eat? And that's what you basically live on when you're dieting down and over exercising. And so we end up with a lot of not only physical problems, but we end up with a lot of emotional problems with food, because food seems to be the enemy, and it makes us feel right, as opposed to making us feel healthy. And that's really what food should be doing for us, is make us feel healthy. Let's see. My girl Yvonne is here. Good to have you here, Yvonne. Diane from Maryland. Nice to have you here. Pamela, love fasted workouts. Never thought I could do them until I started IF. I know, it's the craziest thing ever. Margaret, she's my running girl. What does Margaret have to say? I can't wait to run my next half marathon in January as a fat adaptive athlete. The training has been awesome with IF lifestyle. No more carb, sugar, bloat. Yeah, not at all. Not at all. And Margaret and I have talked. We were the goo pack people. If you're a runner and you've ever run anything like a half marathon, which you should be able to run for 2 hours with really any kind of goo packs, but it's a good sales thing. And you literally like squeeze them, and they're like thick syrupy sugar is all they are. And they're nasty, but you believe that you need them. And I remember so many times being out running and just being so sick. Yvonne, I know it's your jam, girlfriend, my vegan inspiration. Okay, Janet. Okay, so here, Janet just posted this, and I'm going to read it to you guys because YouTube, you can't see it. Facebook, you guys can probably read it. But Janet, she saw her doctor today for her 3-month checkup. I'm happy to report that he was more than pleased with my results in the past 6 months since starting IF. So Janet was in our June course, I believe. My A1C has gone from 6 to in June 2017 to 4.8 on September 7th, 2017. So she went from pre-diabetic to not pre-diabetic. He said that there was no need for her to test again until May of 2018. So that's an entire, no, I guess it's like 6 months. So that's cool. That way you can keep a good eye on it, and hopefully it'll go down a little bit farther. So 6 months, that's awesome. He asked that I keep taking my blood glucose readings, but only once a week, not every day, just to keep on top of it. He is concerned that I may still be insulin resistant after so many years of being overweight. Yeah, I don't think you're going to have that problem, Janet. Just keep doing what you're doing. The insulin resistant part for me was a problem too, but mine was from yo-yo dieting so much and just having a sugar issue in general. So just keep working at it, and let's prove to him that you're not going to have a problem with that, even with your past. My weight has gone from 186 in June to 163 today, a loss of 23.8 pounds. He said my goal of 150 was very realistic, but losing more was a good possibility considering how well I was doing. And the deeper you go into that keto adaptive, you're going to get more of that inflammation to go away, and that'll be a weight drop for you too. He had a student doctor, so her doctor had a student doctor with him today. And after going over everything I have done the last 6 months, he just kept telling him she cured herself. Okay, that right there, she cured herself, is the whole mission that I have with sharing everything that I have here, is a woman's ability and furthermore her right to cure herself and not be dependent on someone else telling her what to do or what's best for her body when there's information out there that proves otherwise. So for those of you out there who are feeling sick or feeling like you're at your wit's end or feel like there should be another way, there is another way. You should always go with whatever it is that your doctor's telling you advice-wise. And yes, for some of you, it's even taking the medication, but don't stop there. Don't be satisfied with that. Research, put your head down, start reading books, start reading articles, start Googling some stuff, see what other people are doing out there in the same situation as you. Hang out here with us. We have testimonial after testimonial after testimonial of women who are taking the power back and curing their own bodies. I'm not doing it. They're doing it because they have to make the choice for themselves. Janet made the choice for herself that she wasn't going to settle for that. That's not the life she wanted to live. And she started experimenting with her body with a little bit of guidance and some information that was provided to her that she chose to take on for herself. And she did the most amazing thing by curing her own body. And that is exactly what our purpose here is. So congratulations, Janet. I want to just come find you and give you a big old hug. So she says furthermore in her email that honestly, I'm not sure who was the happiest, him or me. I'm sure he was happy for you as a person, but probably bummed for you as a doctor because he's going to lose you as a patient. So just make sure you get his address, send him a Christmas card every year so he can hear from you. But let him hear from you from a Christmas card and not an appointment you have to book to go see him in his office. Like that's our ultimate goal. We don't necessarily want our doctors to be someone that we have to go see regularly. Paula, listening with my husband Mickey here in San Diego. Oh, Paula and Mickey, hello. And Mickey, stay close because my husband's going to start sharing some stuff with you guys too. So we're going to start creating an environment for our husbands to hang out in as well. So that's a goal for us in 2018. Lori, I ate goo because they said they were mandatory. Always made me want to throw up. Never again. Yeah. Oh gosh, it was horrible stuff. Yeah, Janet is the bomb diggity. Let's see, Lori, new t-shirt slogan. She's cured herself, right? Or we should say, I cured myself is what the t-shirt slogan should say. Let's see. Okay, so Janet, you're getting all kinds of love, which you deserve, girlfriend. I'm just so happy for women who make that decision to do what it takes to cure themselves. It is awesome. Okay, let's see. A couple more comments over here on YouTube. Oh no, we're good. Okay, so can you work out fasted? Yes. Should you work out fasted? Absolutely. But in order to get to the point where you're going to be comfortable and it's going to feel good for you, you have to train your body. You have to train your body to go to those fat stores to utilize as energy. You have to reduce the amount of sugar that you put in your body through living a keto-like lifestyle. Do you have to count macros? No. Do you have to eat pork rinds? No. There's plenty of good healthy fat available to us. There's plenty of conscious carbohydrates available that will provide the nutrient density that your body needs to stay healthy and to repair itself when you're going through those workouts. And you want to make sure that you're doing it in a way when you're fat and keto adaptive that you're fueling your brain with what it needs to stay oxygenated so that it can send the proper signals to your body and your muscles so that you can execute what you're trying to execute through your exercise or athletic performance and get the desired results that you're looking for. This is the stuff that we are going to dive deeply into our 2018 course so I can help you guys go from sick to curing yourself to being an athlete. And yes, I'm going to say the word athlete because I believe every woman deserves to look, feel, and perform like an athlete. We don't want to just work out. We don't want to just move. We want to be athletic in everything that we do, whether it's walking, running in a weight room, or playing with our grandkids or our kids. We want to be able to do it at an athletic level because when you're at an athletic level in your performance, physically, you're at your best. I hope you guys will jump in with us in January. Stick around here in this community. And like I said, if you need some information about what it is that Michael and I have been doing and what we're going to be doing in 2018 to enhance some of what we're doing physically with our bodies and our workouts and what I'm going to personally be doing with my brain and trying to heal some things that are going on with my brain, definitely feel free to email me. I'll have a little conversation with you and see if it might be something that's a good fit for you. And again, if it's not a good fit, I will always find a resource for you to go to that might be a better fit for you. So thanks for hanging out with me tonight. It's always a pleasure to be with you guys. Janet, thank you so much for sharing your story of success and your ability to cure yourself. It is just absolutely amazing, and I'm super happy and so proud of you. And I will catch you guys tomorrow night where we will continue our conversation about living a keto-like lifestyle. Have a good night. I'll see you guys soon.